Gotta tell you, sir, I've never seen so many stars in one place in all my life.
I know. Admiral Barton said they grilled you like a pork chop. Wouldn't let you out of their sight for 14 hours, huh?
And the Cuban flyer? They just dried him off, tied him with a ribbon, and delivered him to the Swiss embassy. No questions asked.
There'll be a formal protest by our government passed on by the Swiss.
Big bleeding deal. Sorry, sir.
That's all right, Simon, I understand.
Do you, sir? I'm not sure you do.
Then explain it to me. Simon, we train a special breed of men to do the work that you do, tigers. And if they show their claws once in a while, even indoors, we've come to expect that. So say what's on your mind. Get it out.
It's all the same to you, Admiral. I know my rank and I know my job. And you can count on me to follow any orders that come down.
And you follow this one. You tell me what's got you so cranked up.
Okay. I'll tell you what I think. It sounds to me like Washington not only isn't concerned about Cuban interference with our exercises, they welcome it.
That's not the case. We don't look for interference. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt for them to see our strength.
Waving the big stick, are we, sir?
Or something like that. We want the other side to know that it's going to cost them a lot if they mess with us.
Well, that's damn fine for a bunch of congressmen sitting on the ground. But I have to tell my people, if it gets hot up there, they can't fire first.
Those are the present rules of engagement. And until Washington says otherwise, that's policy.
Sir, those flyers coming in, they're trained by the Soviets. And they're not trained to miss. My group may not get a second chance.
And if we make a mistake? If we light the fuse, the world may not get a second chance. Could be the 4th of July from here to Vladivostok.
It's just getting a little chancy for my taste, sir.
I know, son. Well, now you know what admirals dream about at night. Come on, let's go back into the party. Relax a little. Hope the Soviets are doing the same.
Aye, aye.
Sally, more ale.
Come on, lady. We're trying to do some serious drinking here.
What kind of hellhole is this anyhow?
Damn good thing we don't fly tomorrow.
Oh, what are you talking about, man? You're already flying.
So I grabbed my pants, flew out the window, and I made a dead stick landing just while I was twice the
Yeah, what about the princess?
Why not? This is the last meal he'll share as a free man with his former friends.
Oh, yeah, you look like...
Hey, turn me loose and give me a weapon. I'll cut all you landlubbers down to size.
Give us a break.
Sabers, man.
Enough, you win.
Hey, you're the guest honor. Where are you going? Need a little air. I'll be back to defend my honor.
You're leaving. Why don't you take the rest of these both of them with you so we
I
can
just need
close
to call
up?
my fiancée. I'll be back.
Give Hillary my love, Jim.
All right, thanks.
And my best
Tavern keeper, separate check.
What's the matter, sailor? Isn't she home?
Say, don't I know you?
Let's just pretend you don't.
You're the one that's supposed to marry Hillary, aren't you? Okay, so, what about the apartment? Excuse me about the threads here, but I do know the rules. You're not supposed to mix it up with any of us civilians unless you have sufficient provocation.
You don't take your hands off me right now, mister. I'm going to consider this provocation.
Oh, all right. Forgot. I'm dealing with an aviator here. A star. An ace. You hotshots come swooping in here and dazzle our women with your prissy uniforms. Play bumper tag up and down our highways in your sissy sports cars. Well, you don't look like such a bad person up close. So I'm gonna make you a special deal on the apartment. I'll leave the sheets right on the bed. That way your bride will feel right at home. 'Cause you're not the first hotshot, not the first in war, or the first in peace, or the first in the hearts of your countrymen. So what do you think about that, Ace?
I think I'm going to take your damn head off.
That was very naughty, Ace. What a naughty boy you are.
Good night, Doc. Everybody
Good
see
night.
Glenn?
No, I don't think he came back in,
really. Maybe he's waiting in the car. Good night.
Good night.
Had a wonderful time. Good night, Doc.
Hey, why do you say we go up the road to the after-hours place?
You don't suppose he called the cab and
Yeah.
ride back?
Got it? I got it. Oh, I'm driving.
You're driving, I'm walking.
Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. Take it easy.
Hey, guys.
Jack, there's been some trouble in town. I'll need an attorney to handle it. I'll brief you in my office.
Yes, sir.
No, I think I'll go now, too. I'll meet you at the house.
How are you going to get there?
I'll walk.
No. Simon, I got to go into town for the Admiral. Would you take Celie home for me, please? Yeah, sure, Jack.
I can get home very nicely by myself. Thank you.
I would prefer that somebody drive.
I haven't been drinking. I'll be just fine.
I would prefer it.
I don't want to go with him, Jack.
For God's sake, Celia, the man is Prince Valiant. He's got 42 good conduct ribbons as well as a chastity medal. Look, he's the only one of those throttle jockeys that I trust to drive anything without wings. Your father's waiting for him.
No one can keep Captain Ahab waiting, right? Go ahead. Go on.
Thank you, Simon. All right. I think you ought to know I'm not real happy about this either, Celia.
Then why don't you just let me walk?
I can't do that.
And if you don't deliver me as promised, you will have violated the code of honor, and you will be tarred and feathered at first light.
Celia, will you please just get in the car?
I don't think so.
Celia.
Celia, come on, we're not kids anymore. Come on out.
Simon?
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Would you buy me a hamburger and a malt?
Double order of fries. Sure.
Now you tell me, Lieutenant. Did you do it? Did you kill that man?
I don't think so, sir.
You don't think so? You don't know? Were you drunk?
Well, I mean, we had all the beers on. I remember the fight.
You know him, man? The man that died?
Yes, sir.
What'd you have against him? What started the fight?
I'd rather not say, sir.
Len, how in the hell am I supposed to help you if you don't tell me what happened?
Oh, I wish to God I knew the answer to that, Jack.
Well, don't worry. If you didn't do it, the Navy's right behind you.
And if I did?
Then you might want to worry a little bit. Gardner. I'm going to try and get a hold of the district attorney, see if I can get you out of here on bail. In the meantime, just hang in.
Would you like another?
Who's paying?
Well, I thought we'd flip for it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Why didn't you come to my wedding?
I was at sea, remember?
You mean you requested sea duty?
Did your father tell you that?
The only Navy business my father speaks to me about is the weather forecast. I guessed. Did I guess right?
You guessed right.
Why? Why weren't you there?
Watch you stand up in front of God and the fleet and marry somebody else? I just couldn't have handled that.
So instead you went to sea. How marvelous but traditional.
Oh, honey, you want to talk tradition? I got drunk that night in a waterfront bar in Subic Bay.
Simon the Pure got drunk over the Admiral's daughter?
Oh, not just drunk, darling. I got weeping, knee-walking, commode-hugging plastic.
How very romantic. Oh, you love me that much, huh?
Yeah. I guess I did.
Why did you let it happen? Why did you let me get away?
Why'd you let me?
Listen. Come on. What are we talking about? Silly high school romance. I expect I didn't see you 5 times the whole while you were at Annapolis.
Not silly, Celia.
Sure it was.
I did love you. You know that.
Why did you have to insist on flying those damned airplanes? Why did they mean more to you than I did?
I guess a man's just...
Oh, I know. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. And so what's a woman gotta do? Sit around and watch as the world turns while Captain Midnight drops out of a black sky and tries to land 25 tons of airplane down on 700 feet of deck in a sea that's pitching like hell water and just waiting for him to miss some life.
Some women live with it.
Some women don't.
Thanks.
Want a straw? Oh, come on. Lighten up there, Captain Midnight. I wouldn't have married you anyhow. You're nowhere near as good a pilot as my daddy.
All right. We'll go over there. Maybe save a little of that for someone else.
Hey, I already offered.
Hey, come on. What is it with that guy you're married to? Doesn't he feed you anymore? What, are you eating for 2 or something? Hey, that's terrific. I'm real happy for you.
Don't tell anybody, okay? It's just between Jack and me for now.
Get lost?
See, no booze.
Maybe navigation isn't Simon's strong area.
No. He's real good in the air, but he never was much on the ground. We just stopped for a hamburger. How'd you make out? What was the thing Daddy wanted you to do for him?
I'll tell you about it in the morning, okay?
Sure. Jack. I need you, Jack. I need you so much.
I'm here for you, Celia.
What I mean is I need to love you.
And I need for you to.
Would you come to bed with me now?
Mm-hmm.
Dad? Don't wear your uniform to bed tonight, okay?
Well, maybe just a hat.
You hold the trust of the government of the United States of America. Last night you took that trust out into the streets of that town and you used it as if it were your own. Well, it's not. The people of this country have invested $300,000 or more in the training, the nurturing, the preparing of each one of you. And you just carelessly, capriciously endangered that trust, endangered that investment. And you compromised the faith that has been placed in each of you. Any one of you is prepared to say otherwise. I want him to step forward and say so now. One man is dead. Your fellow officer is in jail because you didn't look out for him. The uniform that he was wearing has been disgraced. And worse than any of these things is this. What if there were an alert last night? Where would you have been? What good would you have been to your country? What good?
None, sir.
We are a combat-ready unit, which means exactly that. We are ready for combat. We don't incite combat. We don't want combat, but neither, damn it, all the way to hell, do we want to be lying drunk in some parking lot when our country needs us. And our country needs us all the time. Needs us ready. One of us is lying drunk. We're all drunk. One of us is lying in a parking lot. We're all lying in a parking lot. Our job is to watch and to wait. And to grow old watching and waiting if need be. And praying to God that our watchfulness will keep our country strong and safe. That will keep our readiness from ever being needed. Your officers, aviators, they're supposed to be leaders of men, examples for other men. You report to your commanding officer, and you thank whatever God you pray to that your punishment will be picked by him and not by me. You're dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Commander Warren to see you, sir.
Send him in.
I finally got hold of the district attorney. He wants enough bail to buy Puerto Rico.
Okay, let's go see.
Waste it a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Come in. This way. Yeah, I think that's great. The sleeves a little bit tighter. Hi. What do you think? More train or less caboose? Hillary, don't you think you're being just a little optimistic? About what? About the wedding taking place next Sunday. No. Why is that optimistic? Because Glenn is in a little trouble. That'll pass. I'm sure it will. But it's not a little trouble he's in. And it's probably going to take beyond Sunday to settle. No, it won't. What do you think? Have you been over to see Glenn? No. I'm going over there now. Why don't you come along? You tell him I'm sorry. I couldn't make it just now. He'll understand. Hillary, they're about to charge him. At the very least, it'll be second-degree murder. Deborah, would you please excuse us for a moment? Yes, Miss Evans. That is no way to talk in front of a dressmaker. The dressmaker can read exactly what I just said in the morning newspaper. Still, you and I should hold ourselves above discussing certain things in front of... Did you know the young man who died, Jeremy Novak? No, why should I? You think it was just somebody Glenn got into a fight with? I guess. You don't suppose he could have been that same young man I saw you and Glenn talking to in the parking lot after the fly-in? No, I'm sure it wasn't. Because they're going to ask us, Hillary. Who? Who's going to ask us? The authorities. They're going to ask you, and they're going to ask me if we ever saw them together. Well, they won't just say... They're going to ask us in court, under oath. Well, maybe I did meet him just that once. You must have been an acquaintance of Glenn. Yes, I think so. Aviators hang around in the lowest places. God only knows why. I wonder what he could have said to make Glenn want to fight him. Deborah?
You know anything about this?
Sure, it was a grudge crime.
Well, the DI doesn't
tell us anything.
Harry, I talk to you a minute.
Yes, you may, Tom. But the answer is no.
You haven't heard the question.
Question is, may you have him? The answer is no, he is mine. The crime was committed in my jurisdiction.
Well, our jurisdictions overlap, you know. The man you're holding is wearing the uniform of the United States Navy.
The victim was a civilian, a resident of this city and of the county. Now, I believe I can convince a grand jury that your fella in there killed my fella in the parking lot. So you see, your fella's going to be tried and convicted and punished within my jurisdiction. Count on it. Now, if you'll excuse me.
No, I won't. Excuse you. I know what you're about, Harry. So will everybody else in this county before we're done.
I believe you're right. What's more, I believe they'll shower me with orchids for it.
Not to mention votes.
I'm a politician, Admiral. If I'd wanted to do charity work, I would have joined the Navy. I'm also a good and responsible district attorney.
Then why the hell do you want to take a bad situation and make it worse?
Funny. I thought I was doing my job.
Well, I suppose that you were, if your job is to carry the baggage of the real estate developers and the suntan lotion salesmen.
That's not very flattering, Tom.
What you want is to run the Navy off this peninsula altogether. You think it'll be a whole lot easier if you've got one of my aviators hanging from the gate post of this town.
Well, Admiral, now that you mention it, won't make it any harder.
Maybe what you should have done is gone through channels.
All right, then. Who's channel?
County Board of Supervisors.
or me.
Oh, I see.
Well, at least I'm giving you a choice. That's more than you did for me.
And if I pick you, what do I get?
I don't know. What are you offering?
I'm offering nothing. I'm claiming my right to clean my own house, take responsibility for my own people.
Board of Inquiry hearing? An official reprimand, 30 days in the brig for consorting with civilians.
I'm talking about a court-martial full dress that will judge Lieutenant Matthews just as fairly and as harshly as any civilian court.
And if you were to be found guilty?
Well, what would you like? A public hanging? I'll try to arrange it, with a seat for you at the foot of the gallows so you can sit there and knit. You know, Miss Farrell, as a member of the Military Affairs Council, you do have some small obligation to be impartial.
Well, I thank you for the advice, Admiral. I'll give that some serious thought.
Excuse me, Admiral. I seem to remember something about a law professor telling us about trying to catch flies with vinegar.
Jack,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been married to my daughter?
3 years, give or take.
Don't you think in 3 years' time that you could find something to call me besides Admiral or Sir?
All right, sir. How about Pop? Or Dad?
Try Tom.
Okay, Tom. If you don't mind my saying so, I think you're a little bit rude to that lady.
And I want your opinion, mister. I'll ask for it.
Yes, sir. Tom.
Kelly, would you come in here a minute, please?
Yes, sir?
Do you find me rude?
Sir?
Rude? Am I a rude person?
No, sir. I'd say brusque, now and again, but never rude.
Look it up for me, would you please? Brusque. Go ahead, read it.
Brusque. Abrupt, blunt, or short in manner or speech. Rude.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Would you have my car brought around? And so I figured that I owed you, well, if not an apology, at least an explanation.
We're all in distress, but that doesn't mean we have to go around lopping people's heads off. All things considered, I believe I would have preferred the apology.
Scalp for your belt? Is that what you want, Miss Farrell?
An admiral's scalp? Not a bad place to start, would you say?
Not a bad place to end, either.
I'd settle for a negotiated truce. And each side pulls back behind its own lines.
Well, I will admit that I was a bit brusque. I was rude. I apologize.
You were also right.
I beg your pardon?
One apology per customer, Admiral. We're not equipped to deal with the overload here.
No, I've noticed you don't even have a secretary. I was right about what?
I went to the Board of Supervisors, and I told them that in my civilian opinion, what this county does not need is a show trial.
You did that?
I asked them to convince the district attorney to turn Lieutenant Matthews over to you.
And?
And they agreed. Not unanimously, but they agreed. Lieutenant Matthews is yours.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yes, we may both be.
Yes, I expect that Harry Bogart is not going to be real pleased with you.
He's already offered to buy me a one-way ticket to the Aleutian Islands.
Well, hell, I can do better than that. Have dinner with me.
Now?
Well, certainly now. Why not now?
Because I can't believe you want to have dinner with a woman who's not impartial.
I told you. I'm sorry I said that.
Well, don't be. I'm not impartial. Fact is, I'm married to the Navy. You see, it's Mrs. Farrell.
Which Mrs. Farrell?
Mrs. Captain Martin Farrell. Do you know my husband?
Well, I certainly know who he is. MIA, shot down over Haiphong about 10 years ago. Weren't there reports that he was seen alive on the ground after he ejected? I'm sorry, Mrs. Farrell.
Maggie. And don't be. It's all right to talk about it. My husband is still very much alive to me.
I'd like to think that we'll get him back one day. I'd like to think we'll get them all back. Thank you for your help, Maggie. Thank you.
I'm not sure it's entirely favored. A lot of people are going to be looking for you to make a whitewash of this thing so they can scream about it.
Don't worry about that. Well, I expect that we'll be working together from time to time.
Unless I go to the Aleutians.
Don't do that. Where did you come from?
Couldn't sleep and I saw the light. How'd you pull the night watch?
Just got lucky, I guess. You know what I wish?
That Mama were here.
How'd you know that?
Just figure you get to missing her sometimes. Particularly nights like this when you've got stuff dragging you down. Daddy, maybe I could help, do you think?
Well, thank you, honey, but I don't think so.
What is it, Celia?
Well, sort of. I worry about your sister.
But that's not it, is it?
No.
At least we may have got some good news today. I understand that the district attorney's probably not going to prosecute Lieutenant Matthews after all. Still, the whole incident isn't going to make them like us any better, is it? That's it, the town, the land for the added runway?
No, that's not it. Now, why don't you go back to bed?
Because I want to be with you. I know, I'm supposed to be all grown up and sitting on the laps of blue-eyed young warriors below the rank of captain. I don't care who knows it. You can crawl in your crypto-Freudian shore patrol. You can have me dragged out on the quarterdeck and flogged in front of the crew. I will never deny it. I love my daddy best.
You do.
Now, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, why are you reading this?
Just checking out a few things.
Manual for Courts-Martial United States. You've decided to court-martial Glenn Matthews. That's it, isn't it?
Yes, I have.
Why? He hasn't done anything.
Honey, he was there. He was found in the parking lot the night that fellow was killed.
Apparently that wasn't good enough for the civilian authorities. They were willing to turn him loose.
No, they were willing to turn him over to the Navy to prosecute fairly. And, Kay, that's the best thing for him.
Daddy, please. Glenn hasn't done anything. I know him. I just know.
Did Hillary put you up to this? Did she send you here to plead Lieutenant Matthews' case with me?
No, she didn't. If you want to know the truth, I don't think she really cares. She hasn't been to see him since he's been locked up. She hasn't...
But you have? Been to see him? You care about him? A lot?
Well, sure.
Are you in love with him, Kay? He's about to be your best friend's husband. You in love with him? Oh, Kay, baby, I'm sorry. I've been wrestling with this all night. No matter how I add it up, it just comes out one way.
Keel haul him?
Bring him before a military jury.
And just who picks this jury?
I do.
Handpicked by you. A man who's more interested in another runway than in simple basic
Oh, no,
humanity.
that's not fair, Kay, and you know it.
Do I? Everybody comes out on this one, isn't that so? Those carnivores over in town get their chunk of flesh, the Admiral gets his airfield, and who knows, maybe down the line an appointment to the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
That'll be enough.
Didn't you forget something, Daddy? Mister. That will be enough, mister. Or do I look like an ordinary seaman?
You heard me, Kay. Now go to bed.
Lieutenant Glenn Matthews did not kill anybody. And if you hurt him, I will leave this house and you won't hear from me again. You're right, Daddy. I do love him. And if you sign that order, he could end up locked away for all his life.
I've got my duty, Kay. That comes first.
Damn your precious duty. And your benighted honor. And your damn uniform code of military justice.
Premiere Week continues with the season premiere of The Mississippi, and Ben Walker is pushing himself to the limit to convict a cold-blooded killer. The Mississippi, tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Bill Curtis, tomorrow, what you can do about the soaring cost of health care. And the stars of After MASH. Wake up to what's happening on the CBS Morning News.